The bird breathing.
And here we are, another episode of Birds Breakdown.
Victory Birds Breakdown.
Exactly.
Yes.
First place. This is a first place episode of Birds Breakdown. And obviously, you could see I'm a little different today. Tell you, it threw everything off for us having the game on Thursday.
It really
so
did.
I was like, you know what? It's like too long for me to not have makeup on. I got to keep it off for a minute. So you guys get me.
Free.
Exactly, makeup free, but still looking sharp in my Eagles stuff. And we have a lot of things to talk about today. So let's get right to it. Let me do all our sponsors, especially Tonic Seafood and Steak. Of course, they're voted best of Delaware 2 years running. It's a fantastic steakhouse. I had the lamb chops today before the show, and I tell you, they were absolutely amazing. I literally went through that whole thing. There wasn't another speck on the plate. Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet. Philly Sports Trips. You want to go to Dallas and you want to go on their phillysportstrips.com. They have all their different trips together. They also got some Phillies trips working out for next year. And then also King Creative. Every story has an audience. Let the Blue Lion tell yours. So you guys saw us together on Thursday night for a little while. We went live there.
Bash.
It was
fun.
I tell you, exactly. And Hollis Thomas was there. We couldn't get him on, but it was definitely a good time there by him as well. So, and let me get my stuff here. I got to get my banners up. I'm sorry, we're still learning stuff here today.
Yeah, we got the new technology going on.
But anyways, so what did you think of the game?
Well, number one, of course, I think the big takeaway was we are in first place. Yet again, Philly Sports Guy, 5 straight weeks. Carson Wentz really putting the team on his back. It's just like every week, he's making you feel more and more better about him as your franchise QB. This was an overall good win. You know, it sucked in the beginning of the fourth quarter when you saw the Giants going up 21-10. And I think a lot of people felt the same way that I did around that time, like, oh, crap, well, we're really about to lose to the New York Giants. But the Eagles always finding a way to dig deep. This is a team. This team has chemistry, and you've seen it over the past couple of years, and they really relied on that going throughout the game. And listen, those 2 drives to win the game, huge. And it's probably like you said, we were talking about it all the way up to leading up to the Giants game. The season doesn't start until that Giants game, and I really think that after what we saw, the season has started. And what better way to start it than Dallas League, which we'll talk about in a second. But
you can only start to get excited about that. I know I'm being quiet right now because there's a family over here that's got a little child. I don't want to be screaming and carrying on over there. You know, like I said, there's a restaurant here a little bit, but it is Dallas week. And I already put out my video. Everybody kind of saw exactly how I feel about Dallas. Dallas sucks. Oh, yeah. Dallas sucks. But that's just one of the things to even talk about. Now, I talk about a couple of things that I wanted to take away from the game. Obviously, it's amazing how this team can seem to put it together when it's Madden time. You know what I mean? When you're down to the last 5 minutes, and it seems like that every week. The one stat that I saw that was really surprising to me was that the Giants had the ball in the fourth quarter close to 11 minutes.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, they had it close to 11 minutes, and we were able to score 12 points because we missed both 2-point conversions to be able to take the lead in only 4 minutes and like 15 seconds. I think it was a ridiculous amount of time. Exactly 4 minutes and 15 seconds is what created those 2 drives. So to be able to go down the field and just do that quickly. There was another thing that I started to take away. And this is what happens when the game's on Thursday, and I get to start to play around with time because I don't know what to do with myself. I started counting points that I feel like they've left on the field, and they leave a tremendous amount of points on the field, and it's becoming. These games shouldn't be as close as they are, and it's because of those points. I started to go back and started to think about and figure out like what would have actually been a score and what wouldn't have been. And I came up with 62 points between missed field goals, missed opportunities, points that assuming that touchdown, but then assuming field goals too and such like that. About 62 points I came up with in real drives that should have been scores, but for one reason or another was not. And that comes out to about 9 points a game.
And it always feels like it's always in the second or third quarter. And like it's great that the Eagles know how to start off fast. It's great that the Eagles know how to close out a game, but you got to make the job easier for yourself. You're completely right there. And I love that you brought up the fact about how the Giants were dominating the third quarter. That Wayne Gallman, he might have earned himself the starting job at running back. Remember, they brought in Devontae Freeman, which thank God Howie didn't go for that deal. But Wayne Gallman, he had 5 catches. He had 34 yards on the ground. He was killing us for a moment in that game. But that really was one of the key factors for the Giants moving the ball. But kudos to the Eagles for getting it done. And it's crazy, too. You're talking about points being left off the board. Jake Elliott. I wanted to talk to you about Jake Elliott. What do we do here? Because obviously he's got a contract that's really not easy to just cut the guy and get someone else. But what do we do here with Elliott?
So, I mean, realistically, it would be easier just to cut him because it's not anything that bad. However, you got to have another kicker. You got to have somebody else in place.
Do you think there is still something that we can get out of him? Like,
yeah,
I think that
2017 back? I feel like kickers go through these ebbs and flows, and ultimately, everybody has this in their career, and it's happening to him right now. The over 50 yards thing is starting to get me, and it may cost us a game or two this season because of it. But ultimately, once you start to get back on the upswing of that, you're going to start making them. And I feel like that it's with the kicker, the points are really important. From the 30 to 50 yard version. So to miss a 29-yard field goal is really, really bad. And that's again, that's points that you're left off the board. Truth of the matter is that they left another 7 off the board by going for it on 4th and turning it over on downs. So when they should have maybe had an extra field goal there, I count that as 7 points though. Like that's what you're giving up. You're giving up 3 points, absolutely, but like it's mostly 7 points. So, and that's why I say you leave those points on the field when you're averaging close to 9 points a game. So 9 points. With 9 points, we would have tied the Steelers. We would have still lost to the Rams.
I think losing to the Steelers helped you out, buddy.
All them Yinzers, they still hate me. They still hate me. And you know what? It doesn't matter that you're the only undefeated team. You guys still stink. you. Anyways, but anyways, and I did have to mention this. I'd like to thank Ingram for his hands being so bad. You know what I mean? It's just
man.
We said specifically that people in New York are killing him. They are killing him. They do not want to have any part of him whatsoever. Yeah. They're looking to trade him along or anything like that.
Well, we talked about it. Those tight ends, those slot receivers, those people that typically linebackers have to cover. We have a tough time trying to stop that. And Evan Ingram, he did have 9 targets, 6 catches. But obviously, we're all going to talk about the crucial drop that he had that really
the bad one.
Set up our win, essentially. But, I mean, we still have those issues. If we played against a Travis Kelce or a George Kittle type of tight end, they might have killed us on that Thursday night. But, thank God the Giants got
The matter is that I actually went back and I took a look at that. And the Eagles still had 2 timeouts. They had the 2-minute warning to go. It wouldn't have been the end of the game. However, it could have been a much harder nail to pull out of the wood. So that's kind of where I get with that, where everybody says, oh, if he caught that ball, that would have ended the game. It really wouldn't have ended the game. It still could have ended the way that it did. And listen, it looks like right now, between if you watch college football or pro football this week, that it doesn't matter. It can come down to the very, very, very last second to tie things. A little bit of a shot at Penn State. And I feel like that they won that game. I feel like that they did win that game. I feel like that they got, that the referees got it wrong. When they give bets back on money, when money bets, when FanDuel gives their money back, you know that they got it wrong. Not only that, but I also, Atlanta again, and they tried the same exact play doing that same thing. I feel bad for Matty Ice anymore.
Yeah, Philly local kid from the Philly area.
So
you always feel bad for him.
Yeah, a little bit, but you know what I mean. They stink out loud too. They really do. They just finding ways to lose, which is what the Giants do. They find ways to lose. They stay close in it. they stay close in it, but they can't ever pull it off, and that's just kind of what happens.
I kind of want to get your thoughts because we were really hype about the Jason Hundley. He got called up for the Eagles to play on Thursday night. He was the third string back. Didn't get a lot of production for the Eagles. We had we had two attempts, 13 yards. But I saw a little spark. The kid's got a little spunk that I'm kind of interested to see.
He had a little bit of the starters.
Yeah.
The starter excitements. He was a little excited for that game.
But you kind of want to see that.
You know what I mean? I'm all right with that. It's like if you're going to do stuff like that, then that's awesome. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, you want to have. I mean, it's a younger team. Right? We have some older veterans on this team, but right now it's young guys that are playing. And I was talking to somebody a little earlier today who happened to be a Washington fan, and I was like, well, other than the fact that you're a dying breed, we were just kind of talking about how the difference between what's going on with the Cowboys and what's going on with the Eagles in terms of the offensive and defensive line. And when you have somebody like our offensive line, our guys are actually doing a fantastic job with what they've got. They let up 3 sacks. I understand, and they get the better of us sometimes because we are very young in this grand scheme of things. But the fact that Mailata spent 3 years training for this spot by the best in the game. And so ultimately, and he's a big boy and he knows how to move his weight around. It was only going to be a matter of time because he's going to succeed, because he's practiced for 3 years. Yeah. Now, if you practice nothing else for 3 years, you better be good at it. You know what I mean? Where in comparison to, Brown, where he just is, he's gotten lazy, and he's just kind of done his thing. He doesn't know how to do it because, and that's what you get, So you got somebody who is now disciplined. He is doing very well on the deep, on the offensive line. He is doing his job, and it makes the rest of the line better. Yeah. So now you got somebody who's actually doing his job, and now it's only 3 other people you have to worry about.
So I'm intrigued now because I'm sure you heard the news today. JP got activated again.
Correct.
for the 53-man roster. So what do we do with JP at this point?
I like him at guard.
I agree. I 100% agree with you.
And to be honest, I'm a little upset about the way that this was all handled.
Yeah.
Like you don't ask for more money, but he did. And it's a business. So who am I to say that you don't deserve the money? You can deserve what you're worth and whatever you can get. And he got it. So the fact that he did, and the fact of the way that it was done is a little sketch. The fact that he's going back to guard, he ain't giving the money back. You know what I mean? That's kind of what's going to happen.
It's expensive backup guard we got there.
Yeah. So actually, and he's on a starting guard because our guards are not doing so hot either. The other guys.
So what you think that for Sunday against the boys, we'll have Mailata, Herbig, Kelsey, Peters, and Johnson, or?
No, I would think Peters would be on the same side as Mailata. And think about that. Now that side of the line is close to 800 pounds. So and that's a big side of the line. And now Peters isn't as agile as he was. That's what made him such a great offensive lineman, is that he was able to move. So he's not going to be able to pull as well as he did before. So it's going to be harder, moving forward for him to be able to do that. However, still a big boy, and his nickname is still the bodyguard, even though he may not be doing such a great job. And putting him at guard, I think, is going to make his life a lot easier, probably extend his play time a little bit, and maybe be worthwhile there. So I'm having happy thoughts about it, although I'm not very happy on the way things happen.
So let's continue to talk about the offense here. So Deshaun Jackson, man. Oh, man, I feel for Deshaun. And we remember the first drive, he gets the end around. He gets that one nice catch. He's being implemented in the offense. And it's looking great. And then that Harper guy, what a POS, man. On that Deshaun Jackson, there was no need to tackle him at that point when he laid that hit. And then on the Greg Ward touchdown, he has a little bickering with Greg Ward.
Right.
He is a real POS, but the fact of the matter is, man, it's just gonna suck. Deshaun Jackson, he's been trying so hard, and his body is what it is at this age, man. But it really sucks seeing this. Could possibly be the last time we've seen Deshaun in an Eagles uniform.
I fully expect that. Unfortunately, I expect that. I think that he's going to go on and
3 catches,
Right, but it's his body just can't handle it. His body can't handle it, and that's really what it comes down to. And then of course the last thing I gotta mention, because I said I don't want to talk about the depressing parts because we did win and we are in first place. Was the Boston Scott saves Kelsey. It was one of the videos I put out this week.
Video on,
you know what I mean?
On social media, Jason Kelsey going up to his
yeah, and like, hey, yeah, exactly. And you know what? And it not only that, but it was the response from Boston Scott thanking him for acknowledging it too. It's like that's where you saw the mutual respect on a football team. And I think
right there.
that's one of the huge differences. Like when you look at the Dallas Cowboys and you look at what before he got knocked out of the game by a really dirty hit. That was definitely a dirty hit. And he gets knocked out of the game. He's like yelling at his team, and now and they were just kind of sitting there. You know what I mean? They weren't really even getting fired up about it. Like you almost want to get a little bit of a reaction from them, and they just were like, "Yep, okay." When are we getting out of here? It's time for a beer. So, and that's kind of how I felt like that's how they took that game. Especially when you get to watch a game on Sunday, you ain't got nothing else to do because there ain't nothing else to do. The Eagles were done.
Yeah, well, but on back on that play, the absolute brilliance of Carson just to recognize the step up in the pocket, right? And then the throw, Philly Sports guy. The throw was perfect. Who was it? It was Julius, or was it Peppers? Jabril Peppers on Boston Scott. He gets a hand in front of Boston Scott's face, and Carson lays it right in a perfect spot where Boston could just put his hands out and then just grab it and and he slides out of bounds, but the feet was obviously in bounds for the touchdown, and that was such a great play. And Philly Sports guy, Boston Scott is the king of New York. He destroys the Giants. He might not have a lot of big games, but he shows up when he's playing the Giants.
At least for the two games. He's only had two games against them, and he seems to show up on those 2 days.
King of New York,
and that's exactly correct. And that's like I said, and he had a pretty good game. Like it was. He was able to do the blocks. He was able to fill in really well for Miles Sanders, and that was important. That was really important.
Next man up.
And that's exactly it. That's exactly what's got to happen. It's always got to be the next man up, and they have to have that mentality because ultimately, 13 guys hurt that's a big deal. When they all knew, like, hey, there was 2 starters on offense, and that's what we've been running with now. So you can't say that anymore because now they've been here for a couple of years.
And I want to give kudos too to Richard Rodgers. Really has been stepping up without having Zach Ertz, without having Dallas Goedert. 8 targets, 6 catches, 85 yards. He's become a security blanket that Carson loves in his tight ends. He's got those short hands, and I think he recognizes that. Remember when he played with Aaron Rodgers? He really had this respect for Aaron, and I think that Richard understands that Carson is. He's an elite quarterback, but he's obviously not there yet. And he wants to contribute. He wants to help this team win. And you're clearly seeing that. And whenever Dallas and Zach come back, this is a great situation we have here. We're tight end. We're the tight end factory as well, man.
Well, I tell you, and I feel like that Rodgers' play is signing the end of Ertz. It really is signing the end of Ertz. That's what's going to happen. You're finding out that Ertz is expendable. Ertz is, because I don't know that it's Rodgers that's the great part of this. He runs his routes well. He picks up the blocks great. And he's not a young kid either. Like he's 30 or 30 plus.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like I like the 12 personnel. I love that we have 2 really good tight ends, but like look at the way the NFL is going today. You really don't see a lot of the explosive offenses don't run a lot of 12 personnel. It's great to have, tight ends that can stretch a field and make a huge difference like Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert can, but I wouldn't be mad if you had, 3 wide receiver sets and you had a one good tight end, and then you could rotate Dallas and Richard Rodgers or whoever else becomes a backup. But I think you're right. I think the days of Zach Ertz are getting numbered, which kind of sucks because Zach's kind of given a lot to this franchise. He's been such an exciting player. He's been one of the better tight ends in the NFL the past couple years. But again, this is a business.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what? I apologize. I feel like that we're getting off script here a hair. It was inside the numbers. We just keep talking about the game, but that was brought to us by Wi-Fly, serving Wilmington, only $55 a month. Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet. And now we're going to do a quick around the horn because there was whole bunch of football that we got to watch yesterday. Especially since like I said, there was no care in the world. We had first place, and we knew we still had first place after the first quarter of the Dallas-Washington game, because you could tell right then and there that Dallas was just going to have a really bad day. I think I saw a tweet from Brandon Graham just saying, yeah, this Sunday couldn't have started any better. And you saw the three Joneses all sitting there just with their heads down already. They just knew that they were beaten so quickly in this game. And of course, Washington beat Dallas 25 to 3.
We'll talk about Dallas in a minute, but
we got more to say about Dallas. However, I'll talk about that in a second too. The Saints beat the Panthers 27-24. Green Bay beat Houston 35-20. They came back to win that game. The Panthers actually held up really well against the Saints. I thought that was a lot closer than I was expecting that to be.
They're 2 or 3 years away, but I think the Panthers are going to be a dominating team.
Yeah, I think that they're a playoff team next year, possibly, just by the way they're coached. I had to do this. I even gave a small little shout out to a buddy of mine who is a Detroit Lions fan, and he lives in Philadelphia. And like I says, I didn't even know that Detroit Lions fans exist except in Detroit, because look at the few that I know. Yeah. But it's I gave him a quick shout out, and it was like my vote counted. My vote counted because they won 23-22 in a last second, Penn State way. Hey, he didn't go down. He tried. Oh, he scored that touchdown. And
yeah, I feel for Lions fans. It's tough because this is a franchise you're talking about that has a lot of history, right? They have decades and decades and decades of history. But what really we'll always remember is the fact that they've had 3, generational players in 3 different positions. Obviously running back, you start with Barry Sanders, wide receiver Calvin Johnson. I think right now they have a franchise quarterback, but they know how to waste good talent.
Yeah,
and it's so unfortunate because you, as an Eagles fan, you would want any of those 3 players that I just mentioned,
right?
At any of those eras. So it just sucks. Yeah, I feel for Lions fans out there. I feel for you guys.
And then there was the Tampa Bay Brady's, which are looking really strong right now.
What do you think now about them?
And they got Antonio Brown. You know what? Hey, listen. When the tea tastes perfect, why not throw some more sugar in? I tell you, that's going to implode on them. But go for it. Go to town.
We'll see.
Exactly. He's been out of football for 2 years now, and he's going to just all of a sudden come back?
Yeah.
Get out of here. That ain't going to work. That's not going to work the way you think it is, and it's probably going to bring everybody down. San Francisco beating New England. I think that New England's just overmatched now. I think that the defense now does not care about the offense. I feel like that the Brady effect had a little, when you're that good for so long, you have a mystique that carries around you, and sometimes it wills other people to win. And maybe some of that had to do with hey, he did it on the defense too. He's like, okay, I'm going to be doing this on either side of the ball, where I'm just going to be rooting for my defense all the time. Well, now they don't have that, and in fact, they keep giving the ball up. They're on the field a lot. So I think that this may be his final year there. Belichick. I think Belichick will just retire. He's just going to be like, yep, I think I'm done. See ya.
That's crazy. That's crazy what's going on there. They really, with this offense that they have right now, it's pretty one-dimensional, right? It's like this power running game that they're trying to do, but obviously just put 8 in the box and just try to stop that. They don't have – the Cam doesn't have, a real chemistry with any of these receivers. It's tough. It's tough for New England right now. But do we feel bad? Do we honestly feel bad?
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. And then the last night, I tell you, wow. I blinked. They were down by 10 points again with 4 minutes left, and Seattle had the ball, or they were just about to kick off again, and they went down. I'm like, this game is over. There's no way that they're going to come back. And then I sat there and I watched it, and I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, wow. Okay, well, there it is. And then Arizona knocks off Seattle, the only other undefeated team. So, and that's, like I said, the only other team. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter what the Rams do tonight. All teams are going to be above 500. And of course they have to be, because everybody in the NFC East is below 500.
I'm really happy that we're in NFC East right now.
Yeah, that's I don't care, and all that hate, because that was the last important game that I wrote down. All right, Yinzers, because we don't care about you guys. So, anyways, so yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting. I tell you, Seattle gave that one up. They did give that one up. I feel like that they could. That was a game that they should have won, and the fact that they didn't was a big deal. So, and then it's going to come back to haunt them, I think.
100%.
Although watching that guy Metcalf go down and go chase that guy down after that interception was amazing. Yeah. Was amazing to watch. That guy, he was running at like 24 miles an hour. Last guy I saw him run at 24 miles an hour, tripped on the 19-yard line and didn't make it into the end zone. That was Danny Jones, by the way. So, anyways, and that was brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. They partnered up with me, the Philly Sports Guy, and we're going down to Dallas right after Christmas. So if you want to come on down, go to phillysportstrips.com. Let them know the Philly Sports Guy sent you, and we'll go down and party in Dallas and take over that town right after Christmas. Go Birds! Yeah.
All right, let's talk about
Dallas,
first part of Dallas.
The Dallas Cowboys. I tell you, and here it is. Yeah, and like I said, so I want to get off this stuff. They actually own the all-time lead against us, 69-53.
There was a couple of bad decades on our behalf, but
exactly. However, since the year 2000, and we're 20 years in now. It's not like, all right, we're only going a couple of years. 20 years in now, we are up 21-15. So, and that's what I care about. Yeah, what have you done for me lately? The last 20 years, that's because it's been longer than that since, what they've won only 3 playoff games in the last 20 years. Definitely in the last 20. We could go back 23 or 24 years, but it doesn't matter. Dallas sucks, and we know that. We know that Dallas sucks, but that's okay because I actually am going to have a buddy coming on here any second now. Hopefully, he's able to make it happen. Because he's going to be coming up for the game.
Oh,
and because I know that tickets are on sale now, and they're expensive. They're expensive right now. If you want to go to this game, it's going to cost some money. And they're going to have, I guess, again, another 7,500 people. And what, 7,500 people for the Giants game was actually, I thought, a pretty good team. You know what I mean? Dallas.
Giants fans. I saw a lot of Giants fans.
They were. It's like they took up the upper bowl. It was like they took up the upper bowl. And Cowboys fans don't like to spend any money. You know what I mean? This guy's coming from Dallas. I mean, I can appreciate that because he knows what's happening. You know what I mean? But truth
isn't Jerry World expensive too?
Really expensive.
I would expect.
It's Jerry World.
Yeah.
So it's like everything is really high priced and such like that.
Like up to 100,000 up in that bitch.
102, 103,000 people. Yeah, and every time I go there, we win. Just I'm 2-0. Actually, and I'm 3-0 in Texas because I went to the Houston game and we won that one too. So and that's so like I said, when I love going to Texas because every time I go to Texas, we win. Last time I went there, we had DeMarco Murray on our team, and I sat behind Mr. and Mrs. Murray. And when we won in overtime, Mr. Murray picked me up, shoulder pads and everything, picked me up. I'm like, you got to put me down, Mr. Murray, because he was a big guy too. He was definitely he's no small guy. So
was that the Jordan Matthews touchdown in overtime? Or
am I thinking, probably it was because I kept yelling that it was. That he wanted the ball. He wanted the ball to score his touchdown. He goes, "Oh yes, he does. Oh yes, he does." But it was so that was. It's always fun when I go to Dallas games because most of the time we go to Dallas games, we win. The only one time I lost was that 6-0 game that nobody really cared about because it was like 18 below for the game, and it was 6-0. It was cold. It was really cold. So but hey, we didn't care about that game very much. It was 6-0, and it showed. You know what I mean? When was the last time you had anybody win 6-0 at the Vet? So.
All right. Well, I mean, let's look at this edition of Dallas and Philly. It's such a weird spot because let's be honest, we're both not the best teams in the NFL right now, but we are in the lead of the NFC East. Dallas, though, it seems like we're heading up and Dallas is heading down.
Yeah,
to be honest,
this team is about to implode.
Yeah,
I am. When they hired this coach, I felt that he was not going to be the best case scenario.
But wasn't it such a Dallas hire though? It's just a guy who has a name because he's won a Super Bowl, but
right. But he's not. I've always felt that he was a lazy coach. That's why they got rid of him.
I thought he was an average coach.
Yeah, and he just he just not he doesn't have the fire that it would take to get a team back over the hump again.
Yeah.
And that's
It always helps me having an elite quarterback too.
I think that they liked playing for Jason Garrett. I think Jason Garrett just didn't have it.
The cojones
Yeah, but yeah, he just didn't have it. Something was missing from him. Uh, that being said, you have this crew out there, and this team quit. This team quit. And beyond the fact of the cheap shot that happened to Dalton, because I would have, yeah, I was the fact that he went out and then they brought in the Italian from
Where's he from? Jersey?
James Madison. It's like he might be from Jersey. Who knows? And he had eyes like saucers when he went in. He's like, I don't know if I'm ready to play.
It's like he saw Sunday dinner.
Yeah, but you could tell he was a little scared. I mean, he was the passes were like, you know what I mean? And I can't imagine. I cannot imagine that they're going to try to not. Yeah, I mean, I guess they have no choice. They're going to have to get him together, but he's definitely not ready for the NFL, and they're going to put him out there. And I think that the team knows it. You know what I mean? And I think that that's going to be an issue for them. Listen, I love beating up on Dallas, but I want to beat up on Dallas when they're Dallas, not when they are like, SMU. You know what I mean? Like
it feels like we're about to run them up on Sunday, and I don't really want to run them up.
Actually, it makes it worse because if they start to play down, and they don't win this game, because that's I feel like I'm writing this game off as a win already because it's whatever. So that's what makes it not feel like Dallas week. But let me tell you, Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks. And I will be happy when we win this game. And I'd love to win it 44-6 like we did that 1 year. You know what I mean? So and just demolish them. In fact, I would like to shut them out. That's what I feel like. Here he is. Here he is. Let's get somebody on to talk to us. He's coming on. We're gonna bring him up over here.
Oh man, he's got the
hat and everything. Blue.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, my man?
Oh, good, man. Just another long day at work.
Yeah, I understand that. Let's just go this way. Perfect. There we go. We'll squeeze into this. So I tell you, you've had a real tough time here with your team. Thank you for coming on the show, by the way. I really do appreciate you coming in. What are you thinking of your team? We're talking about it, and it's like it doesn't even feel like Eagles Dallas yet.
No, it's been an interesting one. It's more than frustrating, needless to say. We waited, several months for the head coach to come in, and then with everything that's happening, the no training camps, nothing. But it is what it is, and we just got to turn things over. And it's not good.
What's the talk in Dallas? What are you guys saying? Because it's one thing to watch the games and have my own opinion, and it's another thing when you saw Dalton yell at his linemen and his offense, and they're just the no reactions, the blank looks on their faces. It made me think something very specific about coaching staff, and I gotta imagine that everybody down in Dallas actually has an opinion about this.
Oh yeah. That's definitely the leadership from all levels. Not it starts at the very top, works its way down, and there is no accountability from what we're seeing as fans. And what I mean by that is that what you described right there was in that Andy Dalton's on the sideline yelling at his guys. And when I saw that, I said, there's some fire right there. Finally, somebody's getting on these guys to get their jobs done and do it right and protect them. And I haven't seen any coaches being on the sidelines in the players' faces, going over the books, going over the spreadsheets, going over the camera views, going over anything. And that's where it starts. And I just don't understand how a coach or coaches aren't there with the playbooks, aren't there yelling at these guys. And I don't mean just yelling off hostility. I'm talking about, getting these guys to do their jobs, because I'm seeing it across from the defensive line to the linebackers to the secondary. And when those guys are talking on the field, they're not talking to each other from what I'm seeing as a fan on TV and in person at the stadium. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Holding people accountable, right?
Yeah, it's just, okay, come on, guys. Somebody needs to step up. And we're in week 7, and it's kind of like one of my tweets I put out, and I said, hey, you're in week 7. If you're at a job for 7 weeks and you're not doing your job, the person in charge of your job should be motivating you within these 7 weeks. And what I'm talking about is the management side.
Right. Correct.
The coaches should be motivating these guys after 7 weeks because they're the ones in charge. It's not about just sitting in the film room looking at the ins and outs and the X's and O's. It's about actually coaching and coaching to win, not just coaching to be relevant. That's, 7 weeks in and we're 2-5, and it just on this division of all things, the NFC East.
Right.
And we're not the only ones.
So, right. I mean, we're all having COVID years. You know what I mean? This is a COVID year for sure. I now feel like what it was like in the NFC West, a few years back, or the NFC South. I feel like that each division has this time. They always kind of work, they have their downtime, and like, I feel like, so, and we're going through it right now, and it's easy because we're easy pickings for everybody else. Everybody hates Dallas. Exactly. Every time I see you, I tell you Dallas sucks. You know what I mean? And it's like that with the Eagles fans. Everybody hates the Eagles fans. I mean, I have more haters than lovers. And so it's one of those things that makes it real easy to beat up on us when we're down. But this is still a very strong, prideful division.
Yeah, very much so.
And ultimately, when things start to happen in the right direction for us, they don't want to face us. It's like they can talk all they want, but ultimately they don't want to see us when it comes down to it, because they know what we can and can't do.
Yeah, and it's the old saying, any given Sunday. It's the old saying, any given Sunday. And I mean, you step out on that field, you're supposed to step on to, be a professional. And that's from all teams. It doesn't matter. You get on the field and you're supposed to play. And the NFC East, the rivalries that we've had over the years is just getting more and more and more. I mean, the sticking, the thumb in the eye, the ribbing.
Yeah, it's getting,
and it being this year of all years that, the first place is two wins.
Yeah.
I mean, out of 7 weeks, that says a lot.
Absolutely. So where would you rank this rivalry in the NFL? I want to hear it from you, from the Cowboys fan.
I would have to say it's number 2, right behind Pittsburgh.
There we go. Okay. I like it.
Well, for you guys have the rivalry with Pittsburgh. But I mean, you guys only see each other once every 4 years, so I can't even really.
That stems from like the 70s, right?
It's still an atonement from the 70s.
Those
70s team that got us in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's still a sticking point. As a matter of fact, we're playing them right after you guys. So.
Gotcha. And it's funny because all my Steeler haters, I'm sure, just love the fact that you put them on top of Philadelphia, because that's all they do is, those Steeler fans, that's all I ever hear from them is that they're 6-0 and they're crying to me that they're 6-0 and I'm only 2-4-1. And I'm like, you know what? We're both in first. I don't really care. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. And if you don't want to see us again, if we make it that far, so God forbid I get to see you guys again, because you guys will definitely get beat. But that means we're playing in the Super Bowl, and that's a good thing, good problem to have.
Oh, it's great. And I couldn't even imagine that rival, y'all's interstate interrival. But yeah, the Pittsburgh fans, when they come down here or we go up there, 2016, especially the way we left that game in 2016 with.
I remember that one.
That breakout run by Zeke and scoring from 30+ yards out to seal the deal. I mean, that was.
They were crying. That's what they do. They cry. They love to cry over there in Pittsburgh. They love to cry, you Pittsburgh people. So.
Well, True Blue, give us the prediction. What do you think's going to happen on Sunday Night Football?
Man.
So what's your quarterback's name, by the way?
Danucci.
Vanucci or Dinucci, not Dinucci. I knew he was an Italian, and I heard he might be from Jersey, so he's got a little bit of ties to the area, maybe. But it's
he's really. I'm I didn't want him to go into the game this way of all ways, and you saw what he did. I mean, it wasn't really nothing spectacular, but the kid's got a great arm. He's really able. He's really able to get that ball inside those tight spots. He just needs a little bit more repetition, which he's getting this week. As far as prediction, I really don't do predictions. That's one thing I've always told myself. I do not bet on my team, and I do not make predictions.
Gotcha. Well, and I tell you, it's like I said, I thought last week he was scared. He went in there and he looked a little scared, and rightly so, because those guys are big guys and they were coming after him. I mean, they introduced themselves the first play. They're like, "Hey, here we are, welcome."
Yep.
But then he got up and he threw that next ball, and it was a great ball. He actually made that completion. He did throw a couple of balls where it looked like he was just really unsure. But again, that's what you expect from a 7th-round rookie quarterback.
Correct.
Coming in off of not getting a tremendous amount of reps whatsoever. Although they were saying that they were giving him more time because of the possibility that what happens if Dalton goes out. This is who we have back. Going back on there. And what's going on with the offensive line? You guys have some,
we got injuries all the way around, and the Zach Martin taking a concussion, last week didn't help things out. So we still have Connor, the only veteran lineman on there, Connor Williams, 5'2". He's stepping up in a big way to these rookies. I mean, that's all we've got on the rest of that line is rookies.
Right. Yeah, and I was saying that to somebody here where I was talking and saying that's the difference between what the Eagles have on their backup linemen in comparison to what's going on down at Dallas. I mean, we have a guy who is, in essence, a rookie. He never played football before, but he spent the last 3 years practicing to be an offensive tackle. And when you're practicing for that long, doing one thing and one thing only, you've got to be good at it. That's what's going to happen. And he's showing it, and he's playing that way, where that you guys don't have that type of depth. And against Washington, that type of inexperience will show because they can get after it. And as we found out as well. So
Ron Rivera was coaching him up, his defensive coordinator. Yeah, you're right on that statement. It's one of those things where you can see the obvious in the coaching. And regardless if you're a rookie or a veteran, you got to know exactly where to stand at all these plays. And I was reviewing the game footage and everything, and you can see the rookies inside of them. You can see just the half steps, the kickbacks when they were coming off the line. They didn't have our, Tyron Smith. He gets off that line on the tackle, and you're not going to touch our quarterback. Right. These guys were just getting pushed left and right, and you can see it, and it was very, very upsetting, needless to say.
And which is going to make it even more difficult for you guys this week because you're going against the defensive line with the most sacks. And it's still Dallas, so it'll be fun. And like I said, I'm expecting that you're going to be right next to me, for that game. We're going to be watching it together, right there. So I get to bust them a little bit, most of the game long. That's the good thing about the Eagle Dallas rivalry. We can bust each other's chops, but at the end of the day, we're still good buddies. So,
that's right.
So, well, I appreciated you coming on here, True Blue. And like I said, I look forward to seeing you this weekend. And I would say good luck, except I want you guys to lose.
Oh yeah, you lose as well. And as long as it doesn't end in a tie.
That's the 2 ties would be too much for this city to handle.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
And I can imagine, because I imagine Dallas would take that as a win.
Oh, if it goes on the back end, yes, we will take it for a W.
I guess so. All right, brother. Well, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate you coming on.
Pleasure.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, take care.
All right, later.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate him coming on and stuff like that. Let's go that way. There we go. Awesome.
We got the perspective of the other side. the rival side.
See, and that's what you get with Bert's Breakdown.
Yes.
We're bringing it all to you. I was hoping to hear from another buddy of mine because I have. But let's get to it. Let's get to it. Anyways, like I said, that was brought to us by King Creative. You want your story to have an audience? Go to the Blue Lion, King Creative. Every story has an audience. So, anyways, I know I probably said that way off. So we got something else to talk about. There are two first-place football teams in the city of Philadelphia. And it was a spanking. There was a murder in Chester. So tell me, you were at that game, right?
No, I wasn't. I actually watched it with a buddy of mine who actually covers the team as well. It's tough getting tickets these days. I will be there if you guys are going to go to the New England game. I will be there. That's the last game of the season. It's going to be November 8th. But no, Saturday night, I said it plenty that this was a statement game for the Union. You need to come out and show the MLS, show the world that they are for real. And from the first minute, Philly Sports Guy, they dominated the game. We saw a great performance by Sergio Santos Gomes, one of our strikers, had a hat trick. 3 goals. They're all beautiful.
That don't happen very often in soccer, by the way. I know for all you hockey fans out there, when you say hat trick in soccer, it's a whole different meaning because
that was the 4th ever hat trick in Union history in our young 11 years of existence. Kai Wagner had 2 beautiful assists. He's one of our defenders who had a great assist. Brandon Aronson, who's got a lot of hype around the world, being sold to an Austrian team next season, a Red Bull team, yes, but hey, he's still going to play in European soccer, so he's getting a lot of love. Overall, it was just a great performance. They showed up. We saw probably one of the best goals in the MLS this year, and Jamiro Montero had a beautiful goal from outside of the goal box. It was just a great night. There was only 2,500 fans in the stands, but you can clearly tell there was excitement. There's hype. And Philly, if you are not on board yet, definitely hop on board right now because you have a championship caliber team down in Chester, and it's fun. It's exciting. They're a Philly team. They're gritty. They like to fight. They like to be physical, like every other Philly team that we've loved in our history. Whether you're talking about the Broad Street Bullies, the Body Bag Boys back in the 80s and 90s with the Eagles. You think about the Charles Barkley days with the Sixers, or even '93 Phils. Like this is that type of team with the Philadelphia Union. I really believe it.
And they have a lot of homegrown talent. They have a lot of homegrown talent. So it's definitely something that you want to go check out because I mean, it's not only just them, just the guys that are on, like even the minor leagues are like full, like getting like by guys getting a lot of attention even in Europe and such like that. So it's amazing to see some of the talent that we happen to have in house here in Philadelphia, and it's starting to really show. Like I said, the measure of a soccer team or a football team is matter of cups, and the Union haven't had one yet, but they've been close. But now this is their first real turn to get one.
Talk about Five Love. Claude Giroux was showing love to the Union this past weekend on social media. Anthony Fontana, one of our other star young homegrown players that you were alluding to, has been having a spectacular season. And Claude Giroux shouted him out on Twitter. It's been great. It's been great past couple months for the Union.
Exactly. So and to have 2 Philadelphia teams in first place in a time when you don't really think about hey, it's like first place at 2-4 doesn't make you feel too good. You got the Union that's top in the MLS right now. So and that's
in the whole league,
in the league. Yeah, they got the most amount of points. They've been showing the most amount of promise ever since the beginning here when they went to that they had the tournament down in Orlando. They showed a lot of promise there, and they've only gotten more cohesive since then.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. A big shout out to the Union. Now, and I have my little announcement. I was hoping he was going to come on. So I don't know if it's going to actually happen or not. But I had a bet, with a Giants fan, and that bet was for me to, I was going to give the Giants all praise, and he was going to sing the Eagles fight song, if whoever the winner was. So that win. I still haven't gotten my fight song yet, but he asked for a double or nothing.
Oh.
And I said, okay, Mr. Double or Nothing. His name is Sneaky G. I tried to figure out how to get a picture on here, but I'm not going to work that out yet. So Sneaky G has got this fantastic beard. I mean, you want to talk about beards? True Blue has got a beard. He's got a massive beard. But Sneaky G's got a nice round beard. He's got his whole thing going on, and it's part of his look. It's part of his motif, And I said, well, listen, if you want double or nothing, let's go with you shave the beard. And then he was like, yeah, no, I'm not sure. I says, well, all right, if you're afraid about the hair, I'll risk my hair, and I'll do the mohawk to your beard.
Oh my God!
And let's see it. Let's see it. And I was hoping he'd come on to say that he was going to accept that bet because I was also going to make this a charity run. I wanted to do this specifically. They've been raising all this money. They're trying to get money for the Eagles autism, and I was going to use this money to try to do that as well. And like I said, I was going to put my mohawk on the line.
He's getting a lot of like there.
He didn't.
So we're going to wait till the Giants game in Jersey.
But we got to start now if we're going to raise some money. I wanted to get this bet. So that was the bet heard around the world, and he's not responding. So if he does sing the fight song, I'm going to definitely make sure to post it because he lost this bet. And even though it was by 1 point, a loss is a loss there, G-Man. Sneaky G, you lose. Eagles win. The first place Eagles. And this is a first place Mohawk, baby. Oh, yeah. So, but we do have Nikki Six playing tonight against Mr. Goff and the Rams.
This should be a fun one.
You know what? The line says a lot to me. At -6, the Rams are giving 6 to BDN and the Bears. What are you thinking? With the over-under being 44.5, which sounds about right.
I think you're going to win tonight.
What are you thinking about Big Nick?
This was really tough. As we see,
Deshaun Jackson and Ridgeway both make it on injured reserve. Yeah, breaking news. Told you here. They throw him right on, injured reserve. We all knew that was coming, but
we'll forever love you, Deshaun. We'll remember the miracle at the Meadowlands 3.
Right.
But it's definitely heartbreaking. No, for tonight's game, I'm buying the Rams. I feel like I feel like they'll bounce back and get a good win here against the Chicago Bears. It's in LA, right? From what I saw,
it is in LA.
I think that the Rams at home should be able to take care of business. This should be fun, though. I mean, we all know Nick Foles against the Rams always has a good time out there. So I think I like the Rams. I like the Rams here tonight against the Bears.
The Bears defense is pretty good.
It is pretty damn good.
And I like it when people start to really get under Goff, and get towards Goff. Goff gets scared. Yeah. I feel like that he gets happy feet. When he gets happy feet, he's bad. Yeah. And that's really what I believe could possibly be happening.
Step up. I mean, Nick Foles is capable of having a good game, and it's up to the Rams defense to. What a beautiful stadium there, Philly Sports Guy. It is really nice.
It's going to be fun to go there
in front of us here.
Yeah, exactly. We're watching BYU stomp Texas State, and then like the Rams. Like I said, I think that's the first time they're getting the ball. Absolutely. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. Yeah. And we're here at another conclusion.
Hold on. Before we move forward, I wanted to just say, because for me, the past couple years, obviously I won't bring up the name, but there was once a Messiah here in Philadelphia who went back to college. We won't say his name. He was our coach. He kind of ruined the Dallas Eagles rivalry for me. When he went up to the stands and said that this was just another game, that really hurt me in those 3 years that he was our coach. And as Doug Peterson's been here, this rivalry's gotten better. I think last year was the pinnacle of where this rivalry was. Remember, the beginning of the year, we lost embarrassingly on Sunday Night Football down in Dallas. And then for later on in the season, for the division, essentially, we take care of business against the boys. That was probably the best year in a while. And when I think about Dallas and Philly, obviously I'm a little younger. I grew up in the Andy Reid era. The Jeff Garcia game on Christmas, still top 10.
Merry Christmas, Philadelphia.
I think the reason why I love it so much because that year I actually got my dad, who's not really into sports, watching the Eagles. We watched every single game in that run, and that game really was the pinnacle of it. I think that the Birds are going to wipe the boys all over the Lincoln Financial Field. I think it's going to be a 2-touchdown win here. I see a 35-21 victory by our Eagles. It's going to be a great night. Heading into the bye. People are going to destroy the Cowboys. And I think the second half of the season, we're going to see a different Eagles team. You do not want to face this hungry, physical Eagles team. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
Now you got me hyped because first you had to bring up my birthday last year where we got spanked. We were down 14-0 in the first 4 minutes of that game and just never was able to recover at all. And on my birthday in front of a whole bunch of people. The exciting thing about my birthday was I got to blow up cupcakes that were blue and had Dallas sucks on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was really one of the best years we've had of the rivalry in a while.
And that game to end the season, that season, it was electric in that stadium. It was amazing. Exactly. You knew that we were going to win that game. There was no chance that Dallas was going to have in that game because it was like the fans can will the team to win. And it doesn't happen that often. And
you knew it was going to be a good game when JJ had like a solid first drive. He had like 2 catches. He didn't do anything else after that. He had like 2 catches in the first drive. But you knew it was going to be a good game after that.
So, and it's like that's so you just started to get me like all hyped up because it is Dallas week. And I tell you, Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks. I can't stand Dallas. This is the time. And like I said, I've been kind of soft all night long because we had some people eating and stuff like that. But it still is Dallas week, and I'm ready to play now. It's time. It's time
because he knows what's about to happen.
It's going to be a smackdown. Like I said, I want a shutout. They've scored 3 points against the Washington team. They have been outscored 67-13 over the last 2 games. I want a shutout. I want them to continue to go down. I want that downward spiral to continue. That's what I'm talking about.
There's 5 teams in Philadelphia that piss us off more than anything. The Red Bulls, the New York Mets, the Boston Celtics, the Pittsburgh Penguins, but there's no other team that gets us up like the Dallas Cowboys.
That's exactly correct. And this is still for first place, baby. This is first place. If they win, they need Washington to lose to have first place by themselves. But if we win, we're in first place clear. And it's time. It's time, baby. We got it going on. It's Dallas week. It's Dallas week. You got to get hyped up. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We're going to end E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Go Birds. Yeah. Good night, guys.
See you next week.